Hello Pokémon fans! I'm RPG Hardman and I'm here to give you my take on the 9th generation of Pokémon, Pokémon Scarlet and Violet. Since I got the game, I've played it around 20 hours. I haven't beaten the game yet, but I've compiled the aspects I find most important. I will tell you how the new world works, what the main goals are, what mechanics the game uses, and my opinion about it. I'll try to keep spoilers to a minimum. For an honest assessment, I went into the game completely unbiased. I ignored all news about the games, no trailers, no speculations, nothing. As authentic as possible. All footage is directly captured by me. No post-processing, no marketing filters, as authentic as possible. What you see is what you get. So, is it finally the perfect title after Game Freak had their test run with Sword and Shield? You're probably already screaming your answer at the screen, but let's find out anyway. Let's start with this generation's centerpiece, the world. In this generation, we'll visit the Paldea region, the most open region so far. After testing the waters with the wild area in Sword and Shield, Game Freak decided to go all in on the open world concept. To be honest, my first impression of the world was not very good. The environment looks kinda low res, not what a Nintendo flagship franchise should look by now. It takes a while to get used to it, but soon I stopped seeing camera glitches, bad textures or ugly trees and saw the world in its entirety. And in its entirety, it's quite nice. It's a huge open world with distinct biomes, and I can't count how many times I just got lost in exploring interesting locations I saw from afar. To help with traversing the world, you're giving the edition's flagship legendary very early. You can't use it to battle though. It's basically just your new bike and HM slave. While exploring, you'll find a lively world full of Pokémon. The Pokémon aren't spawned randomly, but the placement feels mostly natural. Well, to show better what I mean, for example, you'll find amphibious Pokémon near or in water, insects in trees, flying types in the air, and so on. Some Pokémon like Mareep or Hoppip tend to form small herd clusters, while others, like Garbite, tend to be more isolated. There are quite a lot of spawns though, and it can sometimes lead to crowded areas, where the Pokémon feel more like pests, not even letting you speak to the nice picnic lady. Yes, I'll get to you later. I just want to speak with... Leave me alone. Sometimes I started to feel bad about attacking whole groups of Pokémon like some raving lunatic. Let's just stop thinking about the moral implications of attacking peaceful critters.
Are we the baddies?
To get the dirty deeds done dirt cheap, and most of all fast, you can just send out your Pokémon to auto battle for reduced rewards though. For many Pokémon there are special encounters. For example, here are specimens infused with the new Terastallizing power. There are also Tera Raids with fixed Tera types similar to the Dino Raids from Sword and Shield. Again, it's 4 versus 1, just much easier. The cheer buffs your player can do are way too strong since they buff all 4 Pokémon and they can do much more than your Pokémon ever could. In addition, the Terastallized Pokémon are not nearly as resilient as Dynamaxed ones. So in most cases I buff in the first rounds and the raid already ends in turn 2, mostly even one shot by an NPC. If you plan to fill your Pokédex, be ready for a massive task. It can start feeling like a chore sometimes, since you'll be stopping a lot to catch Pokémon every few meters sometimes. There are 400 of them in the Paldea Dex, roughly a fourth of which are new. So you can look forward to seeing some of your old favorites as well as new exciting ones. I know I've found a few of my favorites already, so I'm quite happy with it. Aside from Pokémon, you can find randomly spawned items laying around everywhere. It really seems like Paldea has an intense littering problem. You'll find items every 10 seconds of traveling. And the items are quite good, so you want to pick them up. You'll be getting items like ether, potions, stat hills, berries, and even TMs. On the other hand, this makes the game way easier. You'll always stack with items so you can save almost any situation you get in. Almost. Also wakes somewhat obsessive tendencies in me, so I catch myself often just running from item to item. Less often you encounter other trainers. Trainers are still a thing, and as you know, if 2 trainers' eyes meet, they have to battle. Or not. Well, it's totally optional now. The battle will only start when the player talks to the other trainer. I'm not really sure on this mechanic. It was a tradition that the trainer challenges you as soon as he sees you. However, if I'm in a really high level area, I'm sometimes glad that the trainer doesn't challenge me because I would stand no chance of winning. As a good incentive for battling other trainers, you'll find this guy near Pokémon centers. He'll reward you after battling a certain number of trainers in the area. If we're talking about areas, I first noticed that the areas seem to repeat a lot, but then I realized, oh, okay, Paldea is divided into 4 provinces, each divided further into numbered areas. So you might run into 4 different area 2s, just don't get confused by it. Be careful though, the provinces and areas are tiered. As such, each area has its own fixed level range for Pokémons and also item tiers. Since the content is not scaled to the player's progression in any way, it can easily happen that you meet a trainer or Pokémon you can't beat if you venture out too far. On the other hand, high tier drops can boost your early game a lot. I really like the thrill of being somewhere I'm not supposed to be. Cause if I manage to defeat just one way over-leveled Pokémon, the gains are massive. I wouldn't bother catching the Pokémon though, because without enough patches, it won't obey you. If you don't want to risk anything, just ask a Pokémon Center to give you the next location. They'll mark it on your map. This way, the game gets more linear and more guided, but in exchange for your freedom, you'll get safety. While the wilderness might be expansive, it's pretty much all there is in this game. If I'm being very generous, some areas can be counted as caves, but aside from that, I haven't found any notable inside areas or dungeon-like places. There are themed cities, yes, and you can enter some of the buildings, but they are mostly just single menus for buying accessories or other things. The only inside area I encountered so far were 2 homes and a barbershop. Well, there's technically also the city's gym, but I don't know why they even bothered to give the gym an interior room. It's just the same copy-pasted single room without any theme or anything. There might be a small event, you go there to start a challenge outside, or a battle outside too. Well, sometimes there's a small event with an NPC inside, but that's all. If we're here with the gyms are part of one of the 3 main goals the game gives you. The Victory Road, Path of Legends and Starfall Streets. Gyms are part of one of the 3 main goals the game gives you. The Victory Road, Path of Legends and Starfall Street. For Victory Road there are 8 gyms, each with their own type as it's customary. The main NPC who accompanies the Victory Road events is your rival/stalker Nemona. In the early game she's everywhere. She shows you the ropes and explains some of the game's menus and even teaches you how to catch Pokémon. In the later game she seems to almost stalk you, and yes, this pretty much confirms that she's just waiting for you to accidentally meet you. Aside from that, the gyms are very simple. You just go to the city, go to the gym, get a subquest that is linked to a minigame, do that subquest, go to the gym again and challenge the gym leader. The battles are pretty much the same as in Sword and Shield or most other Pokémon games in that regard. There are multiple Pokémons you have to face, the gym leader makes some comments while fighting you, and the last Pokémon of the gym leader is powered up by this generation's gimmick. In the end you'll get a badge that raises the level Pokémon obey you and a TM. Next there's also Starfall Street. For this quest you'll have to seek out the different bases of Team Star. Team Star is the local team of kinda bad guys that aren't really bad, but seem like more social outcasts. You have to enter their base, which doesn't even look like an evil base, more like some kind of camping ground for a few lost kids, and you have to beat them all up. To do that you have to beat the Star Rush. The Star Rush is an all-out attack from Team Star with 30 Pokémon. Sounds like a lot, sounds like action. You have to hold out against them with only 3 of your Pokémon. I was so excited at first, but when I actually played it, it's just walking around in that camp, auto-battling and trying to stay awake, until the game finally tells you to stop and spawns the boss. The boss itself is not bad. It's almost like a gym leader battle, and you even get a badge, TM and some random rewards from the quest's main NPC afterwards. You also learn about the team's mysterious leader, Big Boss.
You don't mean Big Boss?
That's right.
Last but not least is the Path of Legends quest. For this one you have to visit special locations, where a powered up boss is waiting in its new Paradox form. Since you won't see the level of the boss when battling it, you will have no idea how strong it actually is until you start exchanging blows. There, it either reveals to be a total pushover or it just wipes your entire team. After beating it up, you'll get a small cutscene with the second notable NPC, Orven, and you'll have a picnic with him that unlocks more traversal abilities for your legendary. The picnic is one of the new central mechanics of the games. If you overextended your team or just want to raise affection with your Pokémon, you can also have a picnic at almost any time you want. While picnicking, you can very awkwardly throw a ball, and sometimes your Pokémon humor you, probably out of pity, and nudge the ball around a bit. What really feels awkward about this is that as soon as you press throw ball, your movement is locked for like 2 seconds. That aside, you can also wash your Pokémon in a small minigame and gain some affection points with it. The main feature of picnicking are the sandwiches though. You can use recipes or just go freestyle and be creative. There's a small, charming, but somewhat awkward minigame where you assemble the sandwich and your character and Pokémon eat it and react to it. I was impressed that the sandwiches look really tasty sometimes. From the sandwich you'll get a heal to your team and various boosts. As you can see, there are quite a few different boosts, but when actually applying, these boosts only apply to certain types, so it makes it a real hassle to actually use it. Another mechanic is TM crafting. TMs are still single use, but you can use materials Pokémon drop to craft them at the Pokémon Center. There's also really nice quality of life features for attacks. You can just open the Pokémon status and there remember any move the Pokémon has known before. For battle there's a new gimmick too. This time it's called Terastallizing. It's basically a simpler version of Dynamaxing. It just wraps your Pokémon in a shiny crystal and changes its type to a single Tera type. The Pokémon then deals increased damage, especially stab damage. It's nice that every Pokémon can do it and it's not too overpowered, but on the other hand I think it looks really stupid. Just look at it. What were they thinking here? It's basically just a silly crystal hat for your Pokémon to wear. This one's a fist, wow, how impressive. Lastly, I think I have to address one of the more bigger gripes with this game. If you think about it, this is one of Nintendo's most beloved franchises, but it clearly lacks polish. The world's graphics really look outdated and basic. The textures are low res and distant textures just look ugly sometimes. For example, here the game just shoves the ugly graphics right into your face and from that point you've seen it, deal with it. It seems like we've gotten the worst of both worlds, because even with those limitations the game still has occasional frame rate issues. I have seen others encountered quite a few major bugs, but I think I was rather lucky. I only encountered a few minor camera issues, for example here, where the ground was tearing up or the area behind the Pokémon was kinda messed up, or slight annoyances like here, where an item just disappeared right in front of me. No matter what you think about the game, there's one aspect that's very important to me that they did a great job on: the music. The game has a great variety of tracks with very fitting motifs. For example, the general overworld theme while riding is just full of energy and proclaims a great adventure full of exploring. I still have it as an earworm all the time. It also has a very nice contrast to the serene walking theme. Another favorite of mine is the school theme with the bells, and I really like the drop of the guitar. There's also more upbeat and silly music, for example when making sandwiches. It's also a very nice touch that the music changes seamlessly while battling. I especially noticed it in an early cave scene. The music is mysterious and changes effortlessly into a higher stakes battle version. All in all, even though this is a review, I will not give any numbered rating, since the general number rating system is completely busted. But I can say I like the Pokemon, I like the music, some quality of life features are really nice, and most of all, the sense of exploration in the world is really great and it's really there. On the other hand, there are quite a few questionable decisions. I don't like the optics of crystallizing, well, I mean terastallizing, the low resolution of environment graphics combined with technical issues, quite awkward minigames that aren't that well thought out, but most of all, I miss more inside area or dungeons to explore. In short, I like the concept and some of its innovations, but as a whole it needs more polish. Well, you might say, I want to talk after looking at my video. But after all, I'm not a multi-million-dollar company, I'm still learning how to make a good video, so please don't be too hard on me. As you surely can see, I just started this channel, so any support would mean the world for me, even if it's something small, like a like, comment or a sub. I'm sure most of you have the game already, so let me know what you think of the game and my video about it. RPG Heartman, out.